Welcome back to Film Fanatics. My name's Miles, and today we're talking about your mom. I'm just playing. We're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and if you caught my non-spoiler review, you understand and you already know that I thoroughly enjoyed this film, 90-minute film, which is crazy these days. The last couple films I've seen have been 2 hour plus. And, I have no problem sitting through a long movie. I actually love them, especially if the pace and the plot are there and the actors are acting. But with this one, it did feel pretty nice to sit through a 90-minute movie. It kind of gets into itself very quickly, and overall, I think it executes. So, starting off, what basically happens is our protagonist, well, I wouldn't say protagonist, but a guy that we should be familiar with if you are a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Baxter Stockman. Baxter Stockman basically is an outcast of society in this movie, which is a big theme of the entire movie. A great trope that they indeed use. So it starts off with Baxter Stockman wanting a family and basically, creating this ooze that can mutate animals, houseflies, pretty much anything that isn't humanoid already, and it can turn it into one of the Avengers, basically. So what ends up happening is Cynthia Ultram, she busts in on this dude. She's like, yeah, man, I'm glad you did all this work. I'm about to steal it. And he's like, yeah, that's some BS. You're not taking my stuff. Some, big bang action scene explosion goes off. He ends up losing the ooze. The ooze, if you know what I'm talking about. And that thing goes down to the sewers, and that's where it hits a bunch of turtles. And it hits those turtles, turning them into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 15 years later, big fat time jump. Now we're in present day where we catch up with our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're 15, so they're teens. So a lot of the dialogue of the movie is very I say basically you spend a day on a kid's TikTok, or if you got like a young person's TikTok, that's essentially what the movie is. Don't have an issue with that whatsoever. I think it's pretty accurate amongst kids, so that's pretty cool. But essentially what they're basically doing at this point is kind of just stealing a bunch of stuff so they can live, because they live in the sewer. Their father has explained to them that humans only want them for their milk. They only want them for their milk, and they're big humanoid turtles, so I don't know how many people are gonna take to that. And their father, Master Splinter, in this he's more like Dad Splinter, and he explains to these boys like, yo, stay away from humans. But naturally, these turtles who have been, secluded, tucked away in the sewers, are so intrigued by humans, so intrigued by the life that they live, and definitely want to join the society. So as our movie takes us along, they end up seeing Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller, fantastic movie. Glad that shows up in here. But they end up going to see Ferris Bueller, but they have to do it in the shadows. So this leads us into, like I say, this trope of being an individual who's just not accepted by society. And that's something a lot of us probably have experienced, but that's okay. They all had each other, and that's one thing I really enjoyed about the movie, is how really inclusive, how easily they're able to integrate into their family, their friendship groups, which I think is a great thing that we should all be able to do, integrating different people and, accepting them for who they are. So upon going back, they realize, their father is kind of instilling some fear into them. And that's a great trope in the movie as well, about how, our parents kind of built in this fear into us that we're going to have to overcome and break. And the fear that they were installing is, like I said, humans are bad. This eventually leads us into the part of the movie where we're introduced to our villain. And our villain is not Baxter Stockman, it is Superfly, which is kind of, sort of a retcon, but, how they carry out his villain, if you saw my other video, it was phenomenal. Ice Cube knocked that out of the park. Superfly is very intimidating, very, I think an overall great villain in terms of, what the movie did with him this time around. So we're introduced to him. He's building a machine, a mysterious machine. He's BA, he's killing people, and it's pretty awesome. We don't get to see it. It's a little, might be thematic for a couple of, younger audience members, but overall, just sets him up really well. Once we meet our, supervillain, we go back to our characters, in which they throw a ninja star just hanging out being kids at our other protagonist, which is April O'Neil, which, is, I did hear people did not appreciate the change, because normally she's kind of a very confident, white lady who, goes around, contributing and being, something of a, girl boss. And that's cool. But how they handle this character, April O'Neil, they don't set her up to, be this perfect person and, unrealistically. There are so many people that I could see in this character, regardless of, how they look. That's why I'm like, I really appreciate that character, because that's a real person. And I love seeing, people that aren't traditionally on the big screen end up there, because I think it's refreshing. And how they did it was the best part of that whole mug, how they carried her. But they hit her with a ninja star. She's on a freaking scooter, like, couldn't walk. I would have just been walking before I got caught on that scooter. But her scooter ends up getting stolen by a goon. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're a little apprehensive, but Leo is infatuated by April O'Neil. So he's like, yo, we gotta go beat these mugs up. So they chase down the dude. They get to the garage. And when they get to the garage, they're like, oh yeah, we're finna just, do something stealthy. And then Raphael's like, we're about to bust in this mug. Bust in that mug. And then it's a bunch of guys. But rewind to, earlier into the movie, where their skills and kung fu fighting skills are retconned to have learned from kung fu movies. So, I think that's kind of realistic. If you watch a bunch of kung fu movies, you might get better at it, because, they were pretty B at it, because they kicked all their butts, and they were, very, cohesive, and they worked well as a team. So it's like, for this to be some of y'all's first action, y'all are pretty, pretty amazing fighters. So they ended up beating up these goons, not without a care in the world, but they retrieve April's bike. So since they retrieve April's bikes, they link up with April. She's kind of an outcast herself amongst humans, so she's quicker to accept the turtles, and after they expose themselves, way quicker to get to a point where they're like, okay, we can go get some pizza. And it's explained. The turtles just want to be liked. So they just want, and they're just glad a human is seeing them and is accepting them for the fact that they're not humans. So overall, they're not worried about saving the city. They're not worried about stopping Superfly. They're not worried about what he got going on. They're just happy that another person is seeing them for who they are and is being accepted. And I thought that's a great thing, because how the story is pushed from this point, April has been following the Superfly updates because she doesn't want prom canceled. Makes freaking sense. So she informs the turtles, hit her up, let her know, and then she can walk them through what is going on with Superfly. They eventually hit her up, go through a little montage, and they get back, and she shows her a little spider's web where everything's connected, because she wants to be a journalist. So she's on her freaking A game, and she ain't playing with y'all. So she lets them know that Superfly is going to be in a specific place, and all you got to do is get this van, and we got to beat these people up and get this information. They go on a little montage. They beat up a lot of goons. The goons end up talking and letting them know Superfly will be at this location. They go meet him, and then boom, they meet Superfly. Real BA entrance. Captures the depiction of a black man in that sort of situation, because he's obviously black. It's Ice Cube. And he's got like Jerry Curl, so he's a black guy. And they introduce him, and he realizes, whoa, y'all are turtles, y'all are turtles, y'all are turtles. So naturally, they were like, since we're all mutants, let's go get some pizza and go bowl. So they all hang out, they all chill, they all sing Kumbaya, get to a point where they're like, yo, the turtles are like, yo, so what are you doing with all this stuff? I'm a little intrigued. I'm perplexed. And he's like, yeah, isn't that crazy? We're just going to turn this thing on, turn every, living creature into a humanoid thing. And, because really F humans. Humans treat us pretty bad, because Superfly's a fly. So, there's not a fly on Earth we care about. We probably, if we could kick a fly's ass, we'd kick a fly's ass. Like, let's be honest. So no one really likes these different characters. His mutant gang, we're introduced to them. They're all, kind of creatures, naturally we're kind of either scared of or we're feeling different towards, or they're kind of just rats and we, push them off as tertiary things. So with that being said, he wants to turn every single, non-humanoid thing or living creature into a humanoid mutant, which will in turn, end up killing a bunch of humans. And he's like, yeah, fat booty boy races, we're gonna turn humans into slaves. And I was like, yo, this is intense. And April's in the back, kind of having the same reaction, like, y'all gonna let this happen? Because like I said, to this point, the turtles are kind of just doing things to have friends, be accepted. So in terms of saving humans from this plan, that's not really in the book, because, not my problem, not my job. So, but April's like, yeah, I'm kind of recording all this, so if y'all don't stop them, I'm gonna out you, which goes against their whole point. They just want to go to high school and be liked, so everyone thinks they're just trying to help the Superfly. That's a big no-no. So what ends up going on is they link up with April. They end up having to steal a device, betraying Superfly, because to this point they're kind of friends. They're kind of cool because they're all mutants. So same race, same blood, we're all cool. But they ended up betraying him. Superfly's like, what the heck? They get to a point where they get away and the turtles have to pull up and save April, because April goes up on Master Splinter and they ended up, you have a little conversation. Oh, almost forgot. They ended up getting kidnapped by Cynthia, and Cynthia tries to milk them. Whole movie, that was an ongoing joke, and lo and behold, they got milked. So that was a little, sidebar. Master Splinter comes out of nowhere and is peak Jackie Chan and starts beating everyone up and somehow gets them out of the situation after only watching Kung Fu movies. That's pretty BA in terms of a story arc, but, don't go in here for any realism. But check this out. They save them, end up pulling up on Superfly. And this is the part of the movie where I have sort of a nitpick. They end up turning all the henchmen on Superfly because they realize, I don't want to kill a bunch of humans. I don't want to, be responsible for that. I think humans would accept us if we put ourselves out there more, because most of these characters only tried once, got rejected, and, turned their back on society without giving them a true, couple more opportunities. Just putting it totally on them and saying, F y'all, I'm going to go live in the sewers, forget it. So all of these goons turn on Superfly. They all fight, but Superfly, he's a real N-word, so he beats all these people up. But they ended up getting to stop because the turtles were with him, so he kind of overpowers them. The machine that he's been building ends up falling onto him, but like I said, the nitpick is just a nitpick because how they handle it. Because they ended up turning Superfly into a super mega mutant Godzilla type of dude, and he ends up attacking New York. He says, I'm the king of New York. Yo, a lot of people are the kings of New York. Some of y'all are lords. Some of y'all are peasants. Like, you all can't be king. But now he was king of New York. And they find out Cynthia's group of gang members and organization had a way to kind of turn mutants back into, regular animals. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the newly found friend Mutant Goon Gang, they all, hatch a plan and gain some confidence, and they go try to take him down. So realizing, this is not going to be as easy as they think, after a couple of explosions, after a couple of cool action scenes, the Teenage Mutant Turtles find themselves alone, and they realize, maybe we have been doing this for the wrong reasons. Instead of getting, Superfly and taking him down, we should probably, do that, but not for the fact that people will like us. We should do that because that's the right thing to do, which is really the start of their hero arc, which is why I cannot wait until, the next couple movies come out to see what they do, because they set the next couple movies out to be pretty freaking fantastic, and I can't wait. But it leads us into the ultimate theme of the movie, that we should do things because we like to do them, because we love to do them, not motivated by something else, even though those things could be great. Those are perks and things that we can definitely enjoy from what we're doing, we should do things out of passion, out of, doing it for the right reasons, not just doing it to get people to like us or for money or these different types of things, even though those are all cool things to acquire. So they hatch a plan. April O'Neil goes into the radio station or the news station, and she informs the public on the truth, how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all the mutants are good, and they're trying to take down the big Godzilla mutant and all of New York, which is very Spider-Man reminiscent on how, or Spider-Man 2, on how New York, kind of covers Peter Parker and lets him know, you gotta go through me. Joey D. You gotta go through me. So yeah, all of New York decides to help. Nice little action scene. The turtles click together and they end up stopping our antagonist, Superfly. He's defeated. The city is safe, and now the turtles are accepted. Good old happy ending. And now April has friends. The turtles are able to go to high school. New mutants are in the sewers, so the turtles and Master Splinter are not alone. Jesus Christ, thank you. They're not alone. So they build up a little nice community. Can't wait to see where that goes. But movie ends off with Cynthia still on the loose, still trying to regain all the property of the ooze and how that transpires. So she'll probably be our overarching villain, for however long they decide to do this. But like I said, overall, that's kind of how the movie kind of ends, with all our characters being more accepting themselves more. Great, phenomenal message throughout the movie, and I loved it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was fantastic. I think officially it comes out today, so take the time to go see it. It's a good film, definitely deserves to be seen. It's only a 90-minute film, so like I said, it's not that bad. It gets into itself, really nice paced, great story. So I think everyone's gonna definitely enjoy this. Like I said, only a couple nitpicks, and that's kind of how they handle the villain. And outside of that, I think it's a phenomenal film. So thank you so much for staying to this point into the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and definitely leave a comment. Let's have a discussion with fan theories of what we think is going to happen next. How are these teenagers going to mature? What is their overall, story arc going to be? Let's get into it, because that's the point of this channel. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love yourself. I'll be out with more breakdowns, reviews, whatever the heck y'all freaking want. Just let me know. But like I said, take care.